Good morning, my name's Ant and welcome to my workshop. I've decided to do a little bit of a tool restoration. Now I love breast drills, I don't know why, I just love the look of them. There's something quite unique about these things. I've got quite a few that need doing up. There's a really old one there that's got to be done up. That's a Miller's Falls, so that's on the list. I've got various other ones. This is also Miller's Falls. That needs doing up. All these are bought off a car boot sale. This is a 666. But I'm going to do this no-name brand one. It might have a name on it eventually when I get to it. It hasn't got a handle, so I'm going to have to produce a handle from this and some thread, and we'll take it from there. Let's see how we get on. First thing I'm going to do is dismantle it. Now, taking it apart, let's get the easy bits first. Let's take this screw, and it's actually quite loose, and we'll pop that screw there. Handle, as you can see, has fell off. Can't see a name on it as yet, but if I get the wire wheel on that, I'm pretty sure we'll find a name somewhere. As you can see, it's pretty rusty. So place that in a clean, dry, safe place. Remove the chuck like so. That just pops off, and I'll see if I can take that down a little bit further. I'm starting to get a little bit stiff towards the end, but that should come off. I'm gonna have to take the chuck apart, I think, to get it nicely greased up and lubricated. There you go. Yeah, and that piece comes out, and I'll take that bit apart later. It looks like everything's okay in there, but let me take it apart and we'll see how we get on with that in a bit. Okay, the next piece to come off is this shaft. That's held on by this bolt there. It looks fairly rusty. In fact, if you look there, look how much rust is actually in there. It does turn though, but we get this out and remove the shaft. I've got the old Barco, which I did up in a previous video, I think you'll remember. And actually, it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. It is quite stiff actually. That could pull out now. Let's take it fully out. There you go. There's the shaft. There's the little indent that the bolt actually fits into. We'll remove that later. Let's remove the breastplate. Same sort of thing, it's just a bolt. Slightly bigger bolt. Now that is tight. There you go. There you go. Look. That will simply, he says. So I always say simply, and sometimes it's never quite as simple. We know that. Everybody knows that. The old simply remove this sometimes should be changed to, and now with great difficulty I'll remove this. Okay, that's going to need some lubrication. That's rusty, that is, and there you can see how rusty that is. So we'll place that down. That needs further stripping. That will be removed, and the next bit we're going to do is this bit just here. Okay, the next screw I'm going to remove is this one. It's located just there. Now this screw, if I remember rightly from the last one I did, which was a while ago, fits into this sort of wedge, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to come across when I remove that. There may be a spring in there. This wedge has got a hole in it which this screw fits into. Let's have a look anyway and see what we get. I've got a feeling this is going to be tight. Oh, it's not tight. Pleasant surprise. Oh, there is a spring. Quite rusty. Very fine thread, as you can see. Pop that into the little dish. Now, you see that's fairly rusty as well. That pops out. And that should allow this large drive wheel to pop out. And that is, not only is it rusty, it's absolutely filthy. Look at that. Geez, I want to look at the state of that as well. So that's that. And the only thing that's in now is that bit. And that can be cleaned in situ. I think we don't want to be removing that, but we can clean that thoroughly. Well, that's good news. That's pretty much it all the way down, apart from those two little nuts. So we've got the large wheel, which really needs a good clean up and painting. That's fixed. We've got the breastplate, the shaft, which needs a good clean. Everything needs a good clean, to be fair. And we've got the main body with the chuck thread there, and the rotary wheel there, the chuck and the handle. So all in all, that's stripped down now, and we can start cleaning up. Just as an aside, I'm going to replace the missing handle with something similar to this, which is an old file handle. It's the approximate size and shape of the original one, and I should put some thread in so it fits onto the drill once I've finished. Obviously that's going to get nice and either painted or stained, and we'll take it from there. Okay, thank you. And for those of you interested, I'm taking the chuck apart. I've removed this piece. There is a little, I suppose you call it a damper or a wedge, and it's got a thin pointed bit at the top. This is the part that fits onto the threaded shaft. This part here pushes into the middle of these three pieces just there, and pushes them apart so that they spread evenly. So in that sort of way, like so. That's an ingenious method, but it needs a lot of lubrication. That's bone drying there, so as you can see, that presses in and splays the, can't remember the name, apart. And I'll just tap those out. They're contained on a spring, so that's all fell apart. But it's an ingenious way of doing it. The spring's looking good shape, so we can get those back together. That's nice. I like that. I've wire wheeled the chuck, and I just thought I'd show you the comparison. That has come up perfect. Well, it's come up nice, pretty like that. It has been battered in the past, you can see that. Quite a little bit of knurling has gone, but it still looks good, and it's come up quite nice. You can always tell good steel when it comes up on the wire wheel like that. But look at the comparison in between the wire wheel and the rust. That's pre-wire wheel. This is post-wire wheel. Just a little comparison there to see you can actually remove a lot of rust with just the wire wheel. There's no need to soak it or put it in a vapor roast or whatever. That's sometimes when it's light rust like that, just get it on the wire wheel and it comes up okay. Now I've cleaned the bits of the chuck, and this is going to be the fiddly bit, is getting the jaws and the springs located as they were. As you can see, there's a little hole there. The spring fits in, and there's 3 springs and 3 jaws, so they have to be fitted as they were before they can be fitted into the chuck housing. This is going to be well fiddly, so be aware. I'm going to turn off a little bit just to compose myself and get some grease. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little dab of grease into the hole, and that will help lubricate the spring, but it will also, as I'm assembling it, hold the spring in place, hopefully. And if I do that to all 3, it should make it a little bit easier to assemble. Otherwise it's going to be a complete nightmare. So do it bit by bit, nice and steady. Stand them up. Let's see how we get on. Oh yeah, we love these fiddly jobs, don't we? All part of the fun. All part of the fun, isn't it? There you go. Now this is going to be the fiddly bit. I hope you can see. It just slots in, and you're making a bit like a little mini Stonehenge. Just there. And they're all together. Then we've got to get them into there. That needs a little bit of a wipe out, so I'll leave them a little bit, give that a good clean with my brushes, and get back to them. I've lined the inside of this with grease, as you can see through there, engineer's grease. I'm now going to attempt, I've done the threads as well, by the way. I'm now going to attempt to get these 3 jaws. They may stick together, actually. Actually, the best way of doing it, if I put that on top of them, the jaws slide in fairly easily. There you go, look. Then we need to put this bit back. So now this little piece has been cleaned and as you can see, quite messily grease. We just simply drop that into there. That should seat. Once I put this on, remember I've greased the threads, so we need to get it right in the center. Slot that over, screw it down, and that is seated. You can just see in there quite nicely. Thank you very much. Lovely job so far. That's the chuck done. I've had them in a rust bath, the parts in a rust bath. I've taken this one out, so I've just wire wheeled it. Tremendous amount of pitting just there, so I'm going to get that on the sander. So that's that. I took the handle apart and that was just incredibly rusty. That's been on the wire wheel right now and that's come up okay. I'm not really too worried about the condition of that because that's going in the handle, the wooden handle. And I've got this just out of the just out of the rust, the vinegar bucket. So this is going to need a tremendous amount of cleaning up, as you can see. And also, just as a little aside, I've masked up the wheel and I've sprayed it with primer. I've also, while I'm at it, I'll show you, sprayed the breastplate and also the connector for the handle, which is now being dried as we speak. So absolutely getting there. I'm gonna have to do these handles as well in a second. So yeah, plenty to be doing, and so I better get on. And now we're ready for the assembly. Everything's been painted. I've greased all the bolts, threads, and the piece where they join. I've greased the chuck. Let's run through what we've done. This is the main body. I've greased the cog. You can tell it moves a lot sweeter now. I've greased and cleaned the bolt, so that's ready in. There was so much pitting on the shaft, but I've cleaned it and that looks pretty good now. I'll wax that down in a second. No name on it, unfortunately. I couldn't find a name anywhere, which I'm a little bit disappointed about, but it must have been a transfer or something like that. The breastplate bolt is cleaned and greased and I've painted that. The chuck is back together and cleaned. Various bolts all clean. Spring, the main cog cleaned, sprayed. That's looking quite nice. Now the handles. This is the handle that was originally there, the only one there. I've taken it off, I've cleaned it. It was full of grime and oil, so all I've done is clean that and give it some Danish oil. That looks okay. I wanted to keep the wear on it, so it looks like that. I've got a foil handle, which was basically white once I'd cleaned it. So what I did, I got the blowtorch on it to darken it a little bit, then put some Danish oil on it, and then I waxed it last night. I popped a new thread in, an 8.8mm thread, which fits the drill. Obviously I've cut that off and that'll look, it looks about the same, doesn't it? It looks about I've sort of aged it and it looks about right, I think. So that will go on. And all I've got to do now is assemble. So on reassembly, the first thing I want to do is locate the shaft into the main body. and it's the smaller end, pops in there. I've already put the nut in, and you tighten the nut up and it fits into the little recess, therefore, or thereby, securing the shaft of the body. The next thing is a little bit fiddly. You take the main cog, you place it into the bottom hole. You then, as you'll notice while I'm there, look, there is a recess, so you need to level that up slightly, and the wedge with the hole pointing forward slots into there like so. There you go. Hold that in, and there you can see, if you look through there carefully, you'll see the little hole in the wedge that secures this screw with the small thread, and that then secures the wedge in place, and therefore the cog, like so. What I'm going to do next is replace the handle, and that goes on, fits into that recess there. Line up the hole, just hold it with your thumb and pop that in. Once you've got it in a few turns, secure it by means of screwing it up tight. What I can then do is replace my new fabricated converted file handle into the hole, like so. We can then now put on the breastplate onto the top. I've already put the nut in, or the bolt in. God, I'm just getting mixed up today, am I? It's too early in the morning. I might have had too few many beers last night. Like so. So just secure that. Doesn't need much of a tightening up because it fits into a recess. There you go. One more quick turn, I think. Lovely. And then we can replace the chuck. So that's should screw on, and there you go. There we have it. Everything's seated in there. The jaws are beginning to come out. Let's do it. Let's see if it works. It's all been refitted and re-greased. Oh yeah, there you go. Look, and there's the jaws, greased up and ready to take a nice sharp bit. Okay, so just to recap, totally stripped it, cleaned it, sprayed it, fabricated a new handle, or converted a new handle, bit of blowtorch on there, bit of Danish oil, and I think you'll agree that is actually quite nice. Thank you very much for watching. Lovely to have you here as a guest in my workshop. It's Sunday. I'm now going to chill out and relax and watch a bit of football on the TV. Going out for dinner later. Subscribe, tell your friends, press the like, please make a comment, and thanks very much for watching. Have a great weekend.